Hi, it's Joy, and today I'm going to be watching Roswell, New Mexico Season 3, Episode 10, Angels of the Silences. Roswell Season 3 has been everything. Roswell, New Mexico is everything. I'm stressed, I'm excited, I'm worried for Heath. I'm secretly a little bit relieved that it's Heath and not a character that I've loved for many seasons, and yeah, a reminder that you can find the unedited version of this reaction on my Patreon, so if you are interested in signing up to my Patreon or anybody else's Patreon, as I always say at the end of a month, wait a couple of days because you get charged on the day you sign up and again on the first of the month, so that'll be in a couple of days, whereas if you just wait a couple of days for me or anybody else, just one, and everyone wins. So yeah, without further ado, let's go. Oh, is this them as babies?
It's like my head's gonna explode, and all I see is that weird machine.
It's the Lockhart machine. It's been calling out to him.
We're all we've got.
Oh. Has the Lockhart machine been degenerating his brain because of what Jesse Maines did to it? Oh.
Sorry, I thought we were gonna go find Heath, but
no, you're good.
Max was just, you know, waiting for you to arrive to put his shirt on because, you know, he had to.
Right. I'm going to sever your tether from John's and get you back in your tattooed body, long and all, so things can get back to normal.
And what does that mean?
We're gonna figure out what normal is. It'll be okay.
The possibility of there being. Why are you smiling?
Because you're Liz and he loves you.
It is rare to see a genius falter.
To what do I owe this spread of comet keeleys and flying sauce cakes?
I am holding up after you're running with the Lockhart machine.
Much better, thank you.
They just love each other so much.
Do you think you can get the wannabe TARDIS out of deep sky for a spin?
I want to trust her so much, and I want this to be good for Isabel, but she's a journalist, and that stresses me out.
Medals in archery. Violently cut across the sky.
I love Isabel. She deserves this.
Anything.
It's kind of weird that she slept with Max first, but it's fine. Just please don't tell me that she's actually working on a story on aliens in Roswell, because I'll hate that.
Interview at the Daily and
A hug is needed in room 2.
Oh.
Michael and I are excited to welcome him into the pod squad.
Yeah, you seem oddly chipper about it.
But he's like a cool preacher.
He thinks his boss is in the sky and you want to tell him he fell from it?
Yeah.
It'll shatter his worldview. Be more inclined to trust you before you pull the existential rug out from under.
It is so true, like how do any of the religious characters in the show that know about aliens,
But look,
how do they piece that together? It would change how you viewed it.
I've gotten hatred, that uncertainty. It does not have to define us. I want you all to do me
I like him. I'm genuinely, I have my weird, like, watching TV, like, I don't like new characters, I don't like new aliens, stay away. But he does seem like a genuinely amazing guy. Oh. Did he feel that? He's got some kind of wall in there. Who knows what his powers are, but the fact that that happened isn't going to work.
No one is more committed to Roswell than I am.
You know, I want to be wrong here, Evans.
She doesn't have any
As you
evidence.
know from my track record.
You call 911?
Yeah, when someone passes out, I rely on the good book of Henry.
How do we get Baby Yoda where we need him to be?
I gotta go farm an address out of the preacher man.
Michael, he's right here for you.
Don't you dare leave me alone with that preacher.
Inaudible.
Care to fill me in on it?
Siblings can communicate together.
oh my gosh.
Which is nowhere near the engine.
Because I'm pretty sure you heard the brain tweet that I sent you back at the church.
Uh-huh.
Good luck.
Really need to stop breaking into Heath Tuckman's properties. What's up, Doc?
No, we're not going to Carl's. We are not going to Carl's funeral. We are never going to Carl's funeral. Carl will never have a funeral because he's going to be immortal.
He's been playing us ever since I opened the cavern door. I should have seen this coming.
No one saw your genetic
No.
replica and my ex-partner working together on the bingo card.
Yeah.
So let's
With your tapes back, we can beat him to the punch.
Yay. Oh, I'm
Oh,
stressed.
it's okay. Liz won't mind if I borrow some of her crispy chemical. Cagney to Space Lacey over here. But this galaxy turd is using you to do his bidding. I have experience in Dallas.
Kyle, I love you.
So please, just let me.
Isn't that right?
Heath, you know this guy isn't trustworthy. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god.
get our hands on the rest of the chemicals we need.
Oh my god. Please say Heath has kind of realised that this is a shitty thing to do, but then he's trying to save his friend.
I know you can hear my things. Please don't go.
Is that his power, hearing thoughts? If he knows there are people who have answers about him.
Jones and Heath.
Am I a suspect, Sheriff?
Should you be?
Oh, I hate the fact the sheriff is
Disappeared from a crime scene that's connected to 4 homicides and 2 missing persons.
Oh, I hate her being
I think
onto
it's time to tell
them.
me where you've been.
Because I don't think she's someone we could tell the truth to.
She was seen with Deputy Pete on the day he was killed.
That means nothing. So
Coincidences. She's just got loads of circumstantial stuff on everyone.
Is that a file on Isabel and Max?
it's nothing you can see without a warrant.
Which is why I came prepared.
Kyle! What the fuck?
What in the...
Oh, Kyle! He's just doing everything to protect them. I hate this. I hate the sheriff. Because even right now, she doesn't appear to be doing any of the racist stuff. She's genuinely just trying to do her job. But I don't think she's someone we could trust with the truth.
This youth group, and I realized
Oh, God.
I was actually hearing people's prayers.
No, my love. You're just hearing their
You don't believe
thoughts.
No. No.
Oh, this is awful because it is going to crush everything that he values.
We're aliens.
Is he going to believe them or is he going to think they're crazy?
You were found wandering in Lake Mesa Pine, 7 years old,
Uh-huh.
alone. Let me show you something.
Oh, this is changing his whole life. It's a smiley face. Oh, like for him, his whole world belief is religion and God, and he thinks he's been hearing prayers and that has made him feel closer to God, and I feel like that's how he's dealt with a lot of the trauma from his past, not knowing where he came from, and like, this is just absolutely shattering his worldview, and I hate it for him. I mean, breaking free from religion, in my opinion, as an atheist, would be good for him, but also, when you believe and it's that important to you, oh God, maybe he'd have been better off not knowing. Obviously, we need him to know.
No, here, wait.
Oh my God.
Keep that thing away from me!
Oh, this isn't good. I don't blame him for running. I know we're desperate, and I know why we're desperate, but he is desperate too in his own ways.
Wait, hold on. I read his file 3 times. I can't relive that again.
Michael!
You need
I
to stop
love
being afraid of
you.
your past. To yours.
They just see the best in each other. And they know what they're scared of, and they know how to bring it out of each other.
In their
Oh.
bio lab.
Heath can't be okay with this, though I think Heath is in over his head right now.
I lost my cool.
Tell her
What
why.
button could she possibly have pushed to do that? Whatever, it doesn't matter now. I sort of had to go off book, and I kind of...
Freaked him out severely.
I froze him!
Rosa would know what to do.
Ice
Oh.
powers now? In place, you mean?
Miss.
Not much better, by the way.
Well, I don't know what I was thinking.
Rosa has the
I
religious
kind of
angle.
panicked.
She could... We've all been doing that
I think
today.
the mistake was waiting for me.
No, it
No,
wasn't,
it
because,
really
you know,
wasn't.
We agreed. You're...
I think it's time you start listening to your instincts.
Yeah, I like this advice. I'm so stressed about the sheriff,
It's not your
but
fault, Max.
this is another murder that he's at the scene of.
Forget about Jones.
You don't know the truth of what happened, Lauren Louise, and you don't remember those 7 years. The last 25 are what
When I
matter.
was a kid, I chose him.
What if that is my destiny?
Then screw destiny.
Hmm.
You can't be sure.
Yeah, I can.
She
'Cause I'm
knows
not
who
the only
you
one who
are.
sees it. Isabel loves you. Michael loves you, and
I love you. I also love him. Oh. This, I mean, right, but a murder scene is the best place to have your reuniting kiss, but I love them. Oh, Max is going to get arrested for murders, isn't he? Heath, have you seen how many people he's killed and are hurt? Heath is just in too far over his head. He's scared now.
None of that's true.
Yeah.
You're the only reason I'm
Oh, is
sitting here
Heath gonna
sane
get
today.
himself in trouble trying to stop Jones?
You know, and despite
I do feel bad because obviously he is just a young man who was lost, and you know, as much as he had a friend he could rely on, religion was the thing that made everything make sense for him because he didn't know there was anybody else going. Like, I think even Michael, who was so alone for so much of it, and you know, I'm pretty sure in season 1 he said one of his foster carers tried to exorcise him when he accidentally moved something with his mind, but he didn't know he had no one else going through it, so he couldn't figure it out with them. And I feel really awful for him, especially what he's going through right now.
I feel like I'm looking at a mirror.
black and beautiful.
Something like that. At first they thought I was possessed by a demon, but when burning me with the cross didn't work, they thought I
I
was
know,
the
my
demon.
baby.
You believed? I was 9.
Oh, my
know
sweet
what I was.
angel.
Except alone.
I love you. I'm so proud of you for doing this and
Like
being
you.
this vulnerable. Yeah, this is how you do it. But I think he was always going to panic and run.
CRISPR.
Oh, where's
I
Jones?
think CRISPR has a part to play in his endgame. Oh, no, if Jones finds you here, he will kill you. You have to...
Is that Max or is that Jones? I know that's how Max was dressed,
Forgive
but
me if I'm skeptical. Turn on.
I accept this new alien into our alien circle. Though I'm stressed about what this message is going to say.
Hello, my son.
Oh.
The empath, the engineer, and I set out to make a better world for our children. As a triad, we found strength in our unity. And I hope that the children of our triad will share that connection as well.
There have to be 3. The 3 it's supposed to be is him, not Dallas, with Michael and Isabel, not Max. But they already have their triad.
We'll help light the way
This
for what
is
good
just monumental for Dallas. You know, he has seen his father now. He's
Trust
getting
in your triad, my son.
an understanding of where he came from.
Use each other.
Oh, they're the triad, not Matt. Like, I feel so bad for Max right now because they're just filling up the triad without him. I mean, we can have a square. What's that fancy? A quad. A quadrilateral.
Just like
I'm very concerned that Jones has whacked Max on the head somehow and swapped them over because they were separate. And she's just sensed that, right?
Well, what's wrong, Liz?
Yeah.
Expecting someone else?
Freeze!
Holy shit.
I don't know who you are, but you are not Max Evans. I just tased him and cuffed him to the hand railing.
Holy shit! Oh my god. At least she knows it's not Max.
The 4 of us are going for a drive.
Fucking hell. Oh, Kyle, I know.
No. That was all you, Michael.
It was. It was you both.
Better. But it's still,
Cosmic?
yeah.
Alexander Maines. I'm home.
That means so much in so many ways. I love them so much. Both of them. Oh. Sorry. Give me a minute. I've been saying that spirit, like, they have been home since they got back together, but it's a lot. I'm so stressed. I'm stressed for Kyle. Because we never still haven't seen the funeral. I'm stressed for Kyle because he's definitely in love with Isabel, or at least getting that way, and she's very, very much moving on. I'm stressed about who this headless person is right here. I'm stressed because I feel like we've forgotten the funeral thing without being confident it's definitely gone. But I don't want anything to take me away from Alex. Alexander Maines, I am home. Look, he means it in so many different ways because he's got his family, he's got Alex. I'm stressed for you, Kyle, because there's 1 minute 54 seconds left. Oh, Dallas is the headless man.
Right after Michael and Isabel came to, I got a bit more
from my father.
Oh my
There's no way
god.
to stop the dictator. If we can't separate Max from his destiny, the responsibility falls to me.
We are not killing Max Evans, so you can fuck off with that idea. Oh lord.
Michael, get Isabel. Jones has Liz.
I mean, they're a bit busy right now,
Have to be
but they
the
don't know. No.
to kill him.
Well, we're not killing Max, okay? Dallas. I understand that, you know, he's not saying that with like a gung-ho attitude of wanting to do it, but we're not doing that. Okay, so a lot happened in this episode. I feel like in a lot of ways this episode was putting pieces in place, ready for everything to explode in the final 3 episodes. 3? There's only 3 left. Oh my god. So to begin with, I am going to say that part of me is genuinely, like, sad that the triad isn't the original 3 that grew up together. I mean, they always will be a triad, they always will be a family, and I am 100% okay with bringing Dallas into this family now. You know, my initial resentment of new characters, of like, I'm changing the show, I really like Dallas, he seems great. So, you know, I have no, I think I'm getting past my initial, like, new character, thing that I always get in any show. And I tend to get over it quite quickly if the character seems like a good guy, and Dallas seems like a great guy. And again, I don't know whether, like, I'm happy for him to be a regular, do not get me wrong, but is he going to be a regular? Is he, like, are we having Dallas forever? And he, again, more characters, not complaining, but yeah. Part of me is genuinely gutted for Max that the triad isn't him. Because, you know, there have to be 3, there has to be 3. He has it tattooed on his back. Michael got it tattooed to, it's somewhere on him, I don't know if we've ever seen his tattoo, but he got it tattooed on him to, because when Max was dying, because he wanted to remember that there has to be 3, and the 3 are the engineer, the empath, and the other one? I don't know what, because his dad didn't say what he was, I don't know what he counted as, but, you know, there has to be 3, and the 3 is those 3. They are the triad that were working together, and while the children have grown up with a different triad, it is, it's a lot in a way for Max to find that out. Something else that I wondered this episode, but I think I didn't say because things kept happening, was wondering whether Max knows, I guess they told him about him being the dictator, so he knows he's biologically Michael's dad, and that conversation has not come up yet. And I feel like it should, because especially when he was worrying about escaping his destiny. And Michael and Alex have both been through something different, yes, because they aren't genetic clones, but they have been through something of thinking, like, if that's who made me, if that's who raised me in Alex's case, if that's whose DNA is inside me, am I destined to just be the same? And they have both helped each other find out that the answer to that is no. You make your own choices, and you can make your legacy whatever you want it to be. For Max, the key thing is that I think we heard in the memories, so they can tell Max about it too, that Max is different to the other clones. You know, I feel like the other clones were just grown to maturity in a pod, never having a chance to live or have a mind of their own, never having a chance to be shaped by external influences, whereas Max, they kept him for themselves to be their weapon. But again, we need to see more of what they actually were planning to do with Max, but part of me almost feels like the part of him that was going to be the weapon was, although they were keeping him chained up, weren't they? Maybe because they didn't trust him, because because they were worried that he was going to become like the dictator. But other than whatever trauma he had in his mind, you know, up until recently, he thought he had no childhood trauma other than being found wandering in the woods, wandering naked down a road, etc. You know, they thought it was Michael that showed the signs of trauma. Like, I remember in that conversation with Sheriff Valenti, he was like, oh no, yeah, Isabel and I never showed any signs of pre-existing trauma, only Michael did. And they was like, actually, that was you. Which sort of says that he's had a fairly stable upbringing since. I think definitely their parents could have noticed more, or could have done better by their kids, but at the same time they loved them and they tried to give them the best environment they could. He had Isabel and Michael, and yes, he's been through a lot of hellish stuff, but he has only ever tried to help people. That's all he's ever wanted to do, was help people. That's why he became a cop, was because he wanted to help people. And there have been times where he's fallen short, because all of us fall short of our plans. But Max is Max. He has had his own mind for his entire life. He did not just grow in a pod. He has lived and had experiences, and his drive is always to help people. Now, the danger, I suppose, and the danger that they are worried about, and that I guess we all should be worried about, is what happens if he loses control. Like, I feel like it was after he killed Noah, when he had a lot of excess power, and, you know, like, he fixed Michael's hand and various things, and then he sort of thought, oh, I'm like, when he was a bit power crazy and like, I'm a god level of kind of power crazy, he fixed his brother's hand. Yes, Michael was all like, oh, but I think it was for the best in the long run, even though Michael didn't want him to. And he resurrected Rosa. Now, okay, yeah, killed him, it was too much. But his instincts, even when he was at his most power crazed, at his most like losing himself to the power, because he was quite un-Max-like. He was quite like, I am all knowing and all powerful then. I remember being concerned about that until he was dead. In that moment where he was all powerful, the two things he did were helping people and righting his previous mistakes. So that tells you a lot about who Max is, that at his most unstable, at his most power crazed, he still did good. He still tried to do good by the people he cared about and by himself. And like with Michael, he helped someone he cared about, he healed them. With Rosa, he not only healed someone that was innocent and deserved to live, but he fixed a previous wrong that he and his family had committed to the family, etc. You know, like his instincts were good. So I think I'm not worried about Max losing himself. Obviously, potentially there's more to the genetic cloning. Maybe if the tether isn't broken, Jones will always be inside Max, you know, and so there'll be no other way. But I'm not too concerned right now about that ending thing because A, Dallas does not seem the type of person to just be like, well, my dad told me to kill him, so bang, he's dead now. You know, I think Dallas would definitely treat that as an ultimate last resort. It's interesting that even then they knew that the other two would be closer to Max. Like, why wouldn't he say to all of them, there's no choice? But for all they knew, the four of them would grow up together. I suppose when they built the machine, they knew that the three pods were together and that Dallas's pod had got lost somewhere. And I presume his dad had tried to find it before he was captured. Because obviously he wasn't with Nora and Louise. I imagine that was partly because his son's pod had fallen out somewhere else and he was trying to get it. Maybe he was captured on the first night, who knows. But I guess they did know that the three pods were together and the other pod was separate. So yeah, back to my original point is I'm really sad for Max when he learns that Michael and Isabel's triad is with Dallas. In a lot of ways it's not going to change anything because they will always have their family relationship with Max. They will always be his siblings and Dallas is just like a bonus. But kind of I feel like that is almost like a you're not the triad. I don't know, I worry that that could be hurtful for Max. Like I feel like if if that happened to Michael, he would not. I mean, you know, right now he might handle it okay because he's got Alex and he's in a very good mental space. So I'm worried about Max in general. So the sheriff, I really don't know what to make of her. I think no matter what, we've seen in the early episodes of this season that she enables racism, that she is racist, but so far she's never done anything that seemed overtly racist. And by that, I mean consciously racist, if that makes sense. You know, like Sheriff P and Jordan, was that his name, and all those people, they did stuff that was very consciously racist. They knew they were being racist and tired pricks, but they could not care less. Now the sheriff has enabled a lot of that behaviour. The sheriff has, you know, she called in the militia to a peaceful protest after one thing that was not even done by them, etc. You know, she's not a not racist person, but throughout the show I've been watching and waiting to see if she ever did anything that was like in your face racist like they were doing. It doesn't mean it's okay, it doesn't mean she's a good choice for sheriff, but so far she kind of feels like in her mind she is trying to do the right thing. Now again, like I said, at any minute she could do or say something that would make me like, oh no, she's one of them. Because I know like she's friends with the mayor and the mayor is racist and right wing and I think they've been making references of that since season 1. So, you know, we know that like she's not a good person, and like I said, she is not a good fit for the sheriff, in my opinion, but I don't think I think she is someone that truly does believe she is always doing the right thing, which again is dangerous within itself, but if you know what I mean, like she's not the worst. Like if Jordan or Sheriff Pete were the sheriff, things would be 10 times worse. So for her in this episode, she was literally just doing her job. She had a lot of circumstantial evidence about a lot of people, and yeah, I am stressed. I'm glad that she now knows it wasn't Max, but obviously if she were to die in the course of what Jones is doing, all the evidence points to Max. I don't know, maybe there's CCTV somewhere in the university that hasn't been destroyed that would show there are 2 of them, and so maybe, given that if you look into Max's sealed file, it says that at 7 years old they were found wandering naked and mute. Who's to say that there wasn't another twin out there somewhere that something happened to? You know, I feel like there are ways we could talk our way out of this, but at the same time, I'm stressed. I don't know whether Jones is going to be... I almost feel like Jones is too rich of a villain to be one and done, like season 3 be his only season, but also he is the main big villain, and part of me does feel like kind of having an epic conclusion where we deal with him in season 3 would make other stories going forward. I don't know where I'm going to go with that. But for the sheriff, I'm really intrigued about what she's going to make of it all now, because she has realised that she tased Max and handcuffed him to a railing inside. She's now come across another Max, so I'm pretty sure she does now believe Max is probably, I mean, she'll know he knows stuff. She'll know Kyle knows stuff. Bless Kyle. I'll get to him in a second. And yeah, I think it's just a lot. What is she going to be an ally to them and support them? Or is she going to be like, I must report this? I suppose potentially Isabel could get into her mind and make her forget. I know generally we try not to do that without consent, but we do it still sometimes, don't we, Isabella? We did this episode, we tried to with Dallas. I feel like maybe when it's their lives on the line, they might want to do something like that. I don't know, but it's just going to be really interesting for me to see how the sheriff takes this, because she's seen that there are 2 Max Evanses. She's seen him force the gun to her own head. And yet she can see that Liz, who is someone that is closely tied into Max and everything, was willing to go with this evil man to save her, etc. I think she's just going to be an interesting character to see. Like I said, I haven't fully figured out where I stand with her, because I haven't fully figured out her character, but she's an interesting one to watch. And yeah, I didn't necessarily think that at the beginning of the season. Heath, I truly think he is just a desperate, scared young man. I mean, they're all like 32 now, aren't they? So they're older than me, but desperately scared person who is trying to save his brother. His closest friend, his only friend. They're brothers. I think Liz could see a lot of herself in Heath, and that's how she was able to get through to him, is that she has risked everything for the people she loves. She has put people in awkward situations. Now, I don't believe she's ever worked with someone like Jones, and I'm hopeful that Heath hadn't realised that he just killed someone in the hallway. He obviously saw him choking Kyle, but he didn't kill Kyle, so you could kind of think there's more to it than that. But I think Heath isn't a bad person, and I've never thought Heath was a bad person. He has done some very shady things, but you could also see that to him, Liz was lying to him, and why was Liz lying to him, and why was Liz using him, and all that sort of thing, and he was doing it for his friend. If only he'd mentioned that the person he wanted to save wasn't his mother, but was his friend who was found mute, naked at 7 on this specific night, then this all could have gone a lot smoother, because this would have been like, about that. I mean, actually, no, she would have gone and told the others, and then they all would have had that. But, I feel like things could have gone so much smoother, but of course he's not going to say that, because it's not his secret to tell, in the same way it's not Liz's secret to tell. So I do think going forwards, Heath is still in danger, very much so, but I do believe that before Liz arrived, he had realised he was in over his head, but it was kind of that, I'm in over my head, but I'm just going to double down and I'm going to save my friend. I don't know if I can trust him, but I can't exactly leave right now. I can't change this course of action, so if it could save my friend, I'm going to do it. For Dallas is obviously a very scared and troubled kid, a lot like Michael. Now, Michael was lucky in that, Michael's very unlucky in a lot of ways. Like I said, being bounced from foster homes, being definitely abused at least one of them. He did not have a stable upbringing, but he did have a connection that when they were not that much older, he was able to find Isabel and Max. And he had people that looked out for him, and he had Max saying, okay, if you want to come to this diner, I'm going to be there every day waiting for you. He had people that were kids like him, but they reached out for him. Kids that when he said, I can move things with my mind, and Isabel was like, oh my god, I can do into dreamscapes. They knew, they could relate, that they'd been through similar experiences. They knew they were the ones that were together. So although he didn't ever have a family, he had them. Now, Dallas had Heath, so Dallas wasn't alone. But he didn't have anybody that he could relate to about his powers. Obviously, he told Heath, Heath believed him, Heath helped him find a way to deal with whenever the lockup machine turned on, but he was very much alone in the sense of understanding who he was. And in the world we live in, I feel like having an understanding of that kind of power is either going to make you think like you're a devil, a demon, or without any others, or it's going to make you, and maybe you'll think, oh, I'm an alien, I'm an X-Man, I'm, whatever, but you could definitely see how a scared, lonely little kid who was found at a Christian youth camp, went to a Christian youth camp every summer, would end up thinking that he had Christian prayer powers. It kind of makes me sad in a lot of ways, because I think he never tried to explore that part of him because he just thought it was religion, but also that him losing that, is he going to lose his faith altogether? Because I don't know how you could stay having religion, knowing about aliens, but anyway. I don't, like, he may manage to find a way through it. I feel like Rosa would be someone good to talk to about that, because she is clearly someone that still holds her faith as important to her. Liz doesn't really talk about it either way, but to Rosa it does seem to matter a lot. And she, you know, knows full well about aliens, has some alien powers herself. So I feel like maybe that could actually be someone that he could talk to about that side of things if he were to need to. But I think the thing that's going to help him if he does lose his faith is that he's found the truth. He knows the truth. He knows he's an alien, but he's had a connection to his father, even if it was just a memory remnant left for him. It's all that Max, Michael and Isabel have had, although obviously Max's mother wasn't actually Louise, but you know, it's all they've had when they were trying to find out is fragments of memories, quick glimpses and like tiny moments together. But that is something that tethers them to their past. It makes it real. It gives them that connection. And he's got his triad. So I think hopefully if Dallas were to lose his faith, he will have a soft place to land within that, you know, somewhere else to put his faith. And his circle of people, his inner circle, his people that can be his family and his place has grown exponentially, because we are a big family. Now, like I said, I am not currently, I mean, okay, yeah, I'm stressed about the implication that the original triad of aliens were like, we're probably gonna have to kill Max one day, or not probably, but we might have to. And I'm stressed that they put that all on Dallas, because I don't think he deserves to have that put on him, especially as, like, were he to kill Max, it could make him lose everything with the people he's just found and all that side of things. But I don't think Dallas is the kind of character who's going to be like, well, you know, first sign of doubt, gonna go kill him now. You know, I think he is someone that has a lot more faith in people and would literally hold that as a last resort, and something Kyle would also do. And I think were it to become a last resort, Max would want them to, because Max would not want to become a monster to hurt people. But I have faith it's not going to reach that point. Jones is the only thing that could make it reach that point. Kyle. Kyle Valenti is everything. I love how much we've seen him find himself. Like, obviously we know he lost himself a lot as a kid, but even before the show started, he'd realised what an awful jerk he was back then and had done a lot of growing. And he's continued that within this show. And, you know, he still makes side comments about a guy whose soul I don't particularly care about. Or a guy, you know, like a guy who his soul, because Max, you know, and Liz, and they were sort of that whole thing. But I think he does care about Max, and he cares about Michael and Alex. Alex is his best friend, Liz, and he definitely likes Isabel a lot. I think they were making it seem as though he definitely has a thing for her, that it's almost like part of why he's doing this so desperately wanting to protect them is because it was Isabel. That was the instinct of he was destroying the paper, and when she suddenly brought up, like, what about Isabel Evans? She was also missing, wasn't she? And then he was just like, no, she wasn't. She would be part of this. No. Which was kind of where he let his guard down the most, because he suddenly got defensive. I definitely think, and they have chemistry, like Isabel and Kyle, Michael and Lily, they have chemistry. That is undeniable. And I think, must have been in season 2, because season 1 I wouldn't have been shipping them. I kind of remember thinking, oh, I wouldn't mind if that were to be a direction they took Isabel's character or Kyle's character. No, it's totally unnecessary. I adore the ships in this show, but this show is so beautiful even without them. I'm saving the ships to last to talk about. But I think Kyle does like her, and when Isabel was like, oh, what, I can't remember exactly the words of the conversation now, but when she was saying, you know, why did you do this, or why did you panic? Why were you that frenzied about it? And he didn't say anything, and I knew right there and then that he wanted to say, because I like you. But Isabel is, and you know, so then it was hard for him to see her forming a connection with somebody else, but he's also respectful and knows that just because he might be having feelings for her doesn't mean he gets to barge into her life and be like, hey, caveman, me, see you first, me like you. I wonder what he's going to do with the Dallas information. I hope now that the sheriff knows, she's not going to get him in any further trouble. But again, it all comes down to if the sheriff survives and what the sheriff does. Because there will be a record now that he destroyed evidence or whatever. He intentionally blocked a sheriff or whatever. But it's not a secret any of the humans have the right to tell. And it's a secret that would potentially destroy the lives of 3 people they care about dearly, 4 people they care about dearly, because they would find out about Rosa, and now we have Dallas too, who I think we're all beginning to care about dearly, but you know, we've only just met him, and Heath. I really like them though. Michael. I'll talk about you last actually. So Max and Liz, I love that they have, I think both of the main ships in this show, Echo and MALEX, needed the time apart, the time to breathe, the time for each character to figure out who they are, who they want to be, and they've all got most of the way there. And then this season we've seen the pieces wanting to be together, but we've seen them kind of realise that the person they want to be, the person that they're trying to become, or what they're trying to figure out, the best way for them to do that is with their other half. And Malex had their beautiful moments in episode 8, and Echo were getting there. Now, obviously they still haven't had every moment, because Liz's time where they almost kissed and she basically told him she wanted to be with him, and that was very, very lovely. I mean, I was slightly taken out of it because I was like, there's a dead woman down the corridor, but no, that was everything where, you know, Liz realised that she does want to be with him. And obviously the kiss they were supposed to share she had with Jones, but she instantly knew it was Jones. And like the minute Nathan is doing a really, really good job, because the minute he walked in on Liz and Heath, I was like, isn't that Jones? That seems more like Jones than Max right now. And I kind of hate that Liz just assumed it was Max. You know, I feel like if I was Max and Liz, I would have said, like, any time we separate, the next time we see each other, I say pineapple and you say Jaguar. You know, something that there's no way Jones could possibly know. Otherwise, like, this is going to keep happening. But I can also see, because they had no reason to think Jones was dressed in his sheriff's outfit. I don't even know if we knew he was dressed in his sheriff's outfit. But yeah, that was very stressful. The whole ending was very stressful. But for Max, I think something I really enjoy is that he put no pressure on Liz, and he never has done. You know, since she came back into his life, he's been very open about how he feels about her. He's been like, by the way, I'm in love with you and have been all my life. But he's never been one to be like, I love you, therefore you love me. That kind of rom-com-esque, like, I'm a nice guy, so you have to love me. Max has never, ever, ever been like that. If he had been like that, I would be pushing him out a window and I wouldn't like him. He's always respected Liz's choice and, you know, made it very clear that he's pining after her. But I think Liz is someone that is so analytical about things. She is so overthinks things, and then she was dealing with all the grief of Rosa and finding out aliens and all that kind of thing, that it took her longer to realise that she wanted to be with Max. But I also think that had nothing happened with Rosa, had Noah's pod completely malfunctioned and he died in it, there's a very good chance that Max and Liz might have been together since they were 18. I mean, I don't know, maybe they'd have broken up on and off, but, you know, I think they would have had their initial connections on that road trip because they liked each other and they were at the start of something. And potentially in the same way that I think, obviously there are people who get together at like 13, 15 and they stay together forever, but often those relationships are tricky because you grow and you change as you get older. I think they would have been together longer, if that makes sense, or at least known about the connection and had it on and off again until they were permanently together. So I'm happy in my heart because we had the moments where they basically both said they wanted to be together, and we almost got a kiss, but it's close enough that I know the first chance they get, the first chance there is a moment of peace, they're going to be getting together, and that is what Echo deserve, and it's what the characters deserve. And I think they've both reached a place now where they know who they are, they know the mistakes they've made, they know that in the future they need to talk to each other if they want to do secret research, or they don't like the secret research, they need to, you know, talk about it with each other. Isabel and her new girlfriend, whose name, I know it, and then I go to talk about her. Honestly, since I got CFS or IME, my ability to retain characters' names is shocking, and I really hate that because I used to really pride myself on, like, I knew every actor's name and every character's name from anything I watched. Like, I knew everything. A friend would ask me and I'm like, oh, you mean that person? Like, that was my thing. Now, I don't remember her name. I worry about her literally just because she seems perfect, and, you know, I have my concerns for anyone new that comes into the show, or any show. Her being a reporter is very, very stressful. Even potentially her wanting to stay around in Roswell is stressful because it's almost like she just came to Roswell to do a story about the racial tensions with the mayor and the new sheriff and that kind of thing. But since she's been here, she's come across things and wants to stay to write a story. Like, and part of me is just stressed that when she was in Max's house after their night together, that she found his book and she read his book, but did she also find his journals or something? Did she finds, because Max is like, hello, dear diary, I am an alien. Today in my alien life, with my alien siblings, Max writes journals where he tells the truth. Now, I suppose as a creative writer, he could be like, yeah, that's fiction. I just turn my everyday, it's fun. I've done it since I was a kid. I turn my everyday life into an alien fiction. But part of me worries that she maybe could have found something out. Maybe she came here fully knowing that there was more to it than that, because she seemed like such a good and harmless person, and all the people we've been suspicious of along the way, from Heath to Ramos to Jones, the Jones is a bad guy, haven't turned out to be like the big bads. Maybe she's working with the mercenaries or something, and it's going to be a huge misdirect. Maybe that's why they're showing us that Kyle likes Isabel, because that's going to be a long-term thing, which I'm here for, let me be honest with you. But I also don't want her to be terrible. I mean, the fact that she's like an excellent shot, is that because she's a mercenary? I don't know. I'm basically spiraling, panicking and overthinking things. If she's not, if we take her at face value, I think she could be really, really good for Isabel, because she seems very patient, she seems intelligent, and Isabel's intelligent. I feel like people need to be on vaguely the same level of intelligent. Obviously, something wrong with not being intelligent, I don't know what I'm talking about. I think it's really important that Isabel has someone that sees her for who she is, that wants her to be herself, wants her to have fun, and to let go and relax. But I am very stressed still, and to be honest, I'm not going to be stressed, nor stop being stressed, until much further down the line, potentially even until the point where she discovers about aliens for real, if she's a permanent person that's going to be Isabel's girlfriend forever. You know what I mean? So like, I'm on the fence with her. In the same way that had Dallas and Heath just kept showing up without us knowing the connection and seeing them forming the connections, I would have been much more hesitant with them. But part of me does worry that because she's been in it since the first episode of season 3, that she's almost the dark horse. She's almost someone that is just floating in the background, letting us think, oh, isn't that nice, she's forming a good relationship with Isabel, and then it's going to be like, ha, secretly getting information on you. But no, I'm stressed. Michael and Alex. What I adore about these two is that their connection is cosmic, and it always has been, and they still call it that, which I love. But that they bring out the best in each other, and they always have done, and part of why they didn't work out as kids, part of it, yes, was because Alex was dealing with his fears of his father and the fallout of that, and wanting to protect Michael from that, and also wanting to, you know, maybe like there was a lot going on in his head there. But it was also because Michael's struggling, especially after what happened with Rosa. Michael had a scholarship to the University of New Mexico, and then after what happened with Rosa, he didn't think he deserved a life, and he threw his entire life away, and, you know, made a living out stealing copper wire, etc. You know, Michael was capable of a lot more. And, you know, if someone chooses not to go to university and chooses to, you know, do a minimum wage job, and that's what they want to do with their lives, 100% stand by that. That is a valid choice to make. But Michael wanted different. Michael wanted to go to university. I just remember in that season, episode 6, Smells Like Teen Spirit, he was so excited about that scholarship. He was so excited about the future that was opening up for him. And now Michael is happy, Michael is home. But Alex could see that Michael was just throwing away the life that he should have, that Michael was throwing away his potential. But now that they're adults, they understand each other, they know all of the secrets and the things that Michael couldn't tell Alex back then. He's like, oh, that's why you did that. Oh, that's why you did that. Also, they have both worked on themselves, on dealing with their demons of their past, and they are continuing to work through that stuff together, and they are just so supportive and sweet. And Michael is like, you were going to be okay after I locked up, I brought you food. They're just their everything. They are so supportive. They push each other. Neither of them lets the other one slide into bad behaviour, or kind of, oh, you've had a hard life, so I'll let you off. They're both like, well, no, you're capable of better. No, you can face your past. You know, I think they're just so good for each other, and I'm so happy that they are where they are now. And while, yes, part of me is like, we could have been there way sooner, I think in a way they needed the time and the space to work through their demons so that they could be in a really healthy place to restart their relationship. Because yes, I think they could have worked through a lot of those demons earlier together in a relationship, but it would have been messier for them. Whereas now it's almost just like they're just in a healthy, great place to thrive together. That is the crossing of flourish and thrive, which they shall be doing. And so the fact that Alex was able to sort of encourage Michael that you can't run away from your past, that your past, yeah, that's always going to be a painful subject for you. It's in different ways, similar in different ways. It's a painful subject for Alex, but it is something that is part of your journey and your story. And in this moment, there is someone else out there that's hurting and has been through similar stuff, and you can relate to it. And I'm just so proud of Michael for the fact that he went up to this guy who was a relative stranger, You know, yes, he knows they have the alien connection and he really desperately wanted to connect to him because he's always wanted to connect people like him. But he's also a stranger, and a religious stranger at that, and Michael has religious trauma, as we know. The fact that he sat down with him and just opened up about some of the darkest parts of his past, some of the things he's been through, which then helped Dallas do the same in return. That is how they got through to him. That is how they were able to make a connection. And that's how you can make any connection with somebody. It isn't by being like, ooh, I can make things move, aliens. It's by opening up, being vulnerable and connecting. That is the way it works. But I also do think anybody, if someone's suddenly like, by the way, we're aliens, woo, like, even if someone's like, hi, by the way, I had a traumatic childhood and I'm an alien, I think Dallas was always initially going to run. I think that is quite a normal response, especially when he has already found a way to rationalise everything in his mind. But I think if they'd come back to him, like, still just trying to be like, look, here's your pod, and kind of just going for it, he might have still kept running. So I'm just so proud of Michael for being that vulnerable, for not being like, oh, this is where you do it. You know, he shared that story with him, and if anything, that helped show why he would never be one of his parishioners. But just, it shows you how far Michael has come. We've already seen how far Alex has come. We've already seen how far Michael has come too. They just bring out the best in each other. They care about each other so dearly and deeply, and with a bond that is cosmic and just goes beyond everything. And so the fact that Michael's like, you sang to me in a crowded cowboy bar, and so I want to tell you, Alexander Maines, I have come home. Every episode I'm like, well, nothing will ever best. Oh, well, nothing will. Oh, no. I love them with my entire soul. They are everything. They deserve everything. They must be safe. Now, as always, I have stresses. Like, I know I remember when in season N308 when they got together, a couple of people commented, and like I think talking about it with my friend Sarah, we were talking like, is it concerning that this has happened already in the middle of the season? It wasn't left for a big finale thing. What does that mean? But what I am holding on to is maybe in the finale we're going to be left with a hideous cliffhanger that separated everybody, and it's awful and it's tragic and I'm crying and I'm saying, how dare you, I'm so angry. But it will be a hideous cliffhanger in which they know they love each other, and they know they are together, and they know that once we work through whatever this is, if we can work through whatever this is, we will all be together. That is what's important to me, because happy couples don't ruin TV shows, bad writers do. And Roswell, I am counting on you to not be bad writers, okay? And yeah, you know, like, right now, Michael and Alex are a little bit busy. I feel like with the lives they lead, they do need to keep their phones on loud and check them. But in a way, they weren't involved in the Heath side of things. They'd done their part of the job. Yeah, like, they should have checked their phone, but I also love them because they're just happy, and they're just being boyfriends who are together and happy and just living their lives, and they deserve that. And yeah, I think all of us, like Isabel earlier this episode was just on a date, late to meet Kyle. We need our priorities in check, but also they just deserve to live their lives so much. And yeah, I feel like things are going to be, I mean, like, this episode was not slow by any means. I'm not in any way saying that, but this episode definitely seemed like another one of those episodes where it's like, we're just gathering our pieces, we're moving through the puzzle a little bit, we're getting to the next stage, we have our, like, dominoes stacked, and then in the next three, it's going to be like, ah, they've all fallen. I'm stressed. I love this show. I love my characters. Like, of the main characters, the ensemble cast, not including, I do like Heath and Dallas, so, you know, they count. But every single one of the main characters in this show, I love passionately. You know, there's so often in ensemble shows, there is someone that just annoys you a little bit, or you just kind of think, oh, I just don't really care. Like, I can't go back, like, as much as Michael and Alex are both my favourite characters, and like, they are both my favourite characters, even if they weren't a couple, I know they would be my favourite characters, followed quite closely by Rosa. And then, I don't really know, I just love everybody. But there isn't a single character who, when the screen cuts to them, my brain kind of goes, okay, we'll get through this plot. Which is inevitable in most ensemble shows, just because no one's going to like no one can be, well, there's always going to be plot lines that you like a little bit less, a little bit more. Roswell doesn't do that to me. Roswell, I'm just like, give me more, give me more, give me more. And I'm in love with this show, and oh my goodness, I've been recording for 1 hour and 19 minutes. I'm very sorry. That does mean that this review is a good 40 minutes long, potentially. Half an hour long. I'm sorry. I will stop talking now. I adore this show. A reminder that you can find the unedited version of this reaction on my Patreon, though do wait until the first of the month, or the beginning of the month, ideally, for your sake. And yeah, thank you so much for watching.